Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video, we'll be making this beautiful outfit. It's a structured dress with front pocket. Okay, so we have pocket on the front, and we have the neck as a collar on it. Okay, just like a bit of like a turtleneck and a cap sleeve. Please guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. God bless you guys. So come along, let's make this beautiful dress together. For this dress, I'll be using silk fabric, stay or paper stay. It all depends on you. And also, I'll be using lining for it. Okay, so for the silk fabric, I use 2 yards. Stay, I use 2 yards also. And the lining, I use 2 yards. Okay, so that was what I used for this dress. So I ironed the stay on the fabric. Okay, I iron it on the fabric, and that was what I will be using for the dress. Okay, so I iron it on every part of the dress. Okay, but I will advise, if you don't want it that way, you can iron it to just the bottom part, and the upper part you can leave it the way it is. I just wanted it to be a bit thick. That was why I ironed it to the fabric, every other part of the fabric. Okay, so do that to yours. Then after doing that, we are going to go ahead and work on our pattern piece. So for the pattern, we are going to draft our normal basic bodice pattern. Then we are going to do our normal princess dart, but this one I added a side dart to it, and you can use the side dart or you can use just the normal princess dart for yours. Okay, so I have the chest line, the bust line, under bust and waistline. Then for my hip line, my hip is 9 inches. Okay, so I minus 2 inches from it, and that gave me 7 inches. Okay, so the hip depth that I use is 9 inches, and your waist to your hip, that's your hip depth. Okay, so after you minus 2 from it, you're going to have 7 inches. So that was what I marked for my hip line. Okay, so that's what you are going to do. After you've achieved that, you've drawn everything and you've gotten all your outline, you're going to go to your bust line and you are going to insert your nipple to nipple measurement. Nipple to nipple measurement I have is 8 inches. Okay, so 8 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 4 inches. Okay, so from the central front, you mark 4 inches from your bust line. You can even start from your chest because I'm going to connect it to the shoulder. So you mark and you mark it down to your hip line. Okay, so once you get to your hip line, you are going to go up by 1 inch. Okay, on your hip line, you go up by 1 inch and you connect it down to your bust line or your chest line. Okay, so you do that for your, you're going to do that for your pattern. So after doing that, on the central front you mark 1/2 inch, on the side front you mark 1.5 inch. It's just basically the normal way we do our princess dart. So I'm going to be fast on this part. So after doing that, you connect it, then you connect your under bust down to your bust line. Okay, so from your under bust, you connect to your bust line or your bust point. Then you do the same thing to the other side, so you connect both parts. On the 1 inch above your hip, you are going to connect it down to your waist. Okay, so that we are connecting the dart for the bottom part. Okay, so that's what we just did. So you connect everything, connect the bust point down to your under bust and the dart for the bottom part of the dress. So you go to your shoulder and find the midpoint, then you connect it to your shoulder. Okay, so after doing that, you take your tape and go to the armhole line, that straight line that we have. You're going to find the midpoint. After finding the midpoint, you come in by 1/2 inch. Then when you are done with that part, you go over to your chest line and divide your bust by 4. So whatever you have after dividing your bust by 4, You are going to insert it on your chest line and connect your armhole with your curve ruler. Okay, so for us to get that on the armhole, you are going to divide what you have on your armhole and you are going to divide it by 2. So take your curve ruler and find the measurement. Then when you are done, divide it by 2 and mark it. Then connect it down to your bust line. Okay, so that bust point, you are going to connect it and you are going to mark half an inch on both sides. So that is going to give us our princess dart. Then when you are done, you mark your relevant measurement on the sides. Okay, so you mark your relevant measurement on the side. Then when we get to the waistline and the hip line and also the gown length, I'm going to show you what to do. So I divide my bust by 4, then I added 1 inch sewing allowance and half an inch for ease, so that gave me 1.5 inch. And for the waist, I added, after dividing the waist by 4, I added the 2 inch that we have for the dart, then also added 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm going to be separating it. That was what I did when trying to connect it. The half inch, the 1.5 inch sewing allowance that I added, you are going to see the difference between the normal measurement and the one that I added. So when you get to your hip line, for the hip line, for it to have that structured layer, you are going to add 3 inches or 4 inches. If you want it to be very big, you can add 5 inches, but I used 3 inches for mine. Then I also added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so that was what I did. So after adding it, I end up connecting everything. So from that hip line, after adding the measurement, I connected it straight to the gown length, and on the gown length I added 2 inch to it. Okay, so I use my curve ruler to connect it also on the gown length. That's 2 inch, so it's going to give it that like a triangular or a curve, a triangular shape on the bottom of the, it's just going to make it a bit wider, so it's kind of like a curved triangle of something, or curved circle. Okay, so I can't get the shape correctly. So after doing that, you are going to come up on that part that you came down on the gown length. You are going to come up by 2 inch and use your curve ruler to slant it in on your gown length. So that's your hem line. You are going to slant it in and it's going to give it that curve on your skirt. Okay, so that was what I did. For cutting it out, you have to, on your bust line, you are going to come down by 2 inches and connect it to your bust point. So that is going to be our side dart. Like I said earlier before we started drafting, is optional. You can do that and you can as well leave it if you don't want to add the side dart to it. So after doing that, connect everything and you cut it out. Like I said earlier, it's optional. So if you want to use the side dart, you are just going to fold it in and you are going to cut it on your fabric. Okay, so if you don't want to use it, you are still going to just leave it open. Okay, so that was why I just used my masking tape on it and to just seal it. If I don't want to use a side dart for my princess dart, I'm going to just open it up and work with it that way. So let's go over to the back and draft the back pattern. So for the back, we are basically doing everything that we did on the front, but we are not adding the underbust, and there is not going to be a side dart. You can also add a side dart to it for it to be equal with your front piece. Okay, you can add a side dart, or you do what I do, come up by 2 inches on the waist part and slant it in. Okay, so you can do that. So I'm just going to draft the back. The only difference with the back is we're adding zipper, so I'm going to be fast about it. We're adding zipper allowance and our dart is 0.5 inch on both sides, which made it 1 inch. So on the hip, with on the hip line we came up also by 1 inch. You can use 2 inch, depends on you. So but I just use 1 inch for it. And also I added the armhole dart. Okay, so I connected it and I just used half an inch and came up by half an inch. Okay. Remember on the front, I can't remember if I said it earlier, on the front, when you add your front dart, please guys don't forget, you are going to calculate what you have and you are going to draw it up on that side front armhole dart. That is what is going to be your new armhole curve. Okay, so you do the same thing for the back. And for the neckline of the front, I used 3 inches for the wideness, and for the depth was also 3 inches. For the back neckline, I use 3 inches for the wideness and 1.5 inches for the depth. Okay, so it's basically the way you do your princess dart for your back. Okay, and I'm sorry guys, I had to fast forward it so that you'll be able to just see it. I won't be talking much about it. Please don't forget to add your relevant allowance on the shoulder when you are adding, when cutting it out, when cutting it out on your fabric, and all the relevant allowance that you'll be needing to stitch it up. Okay, after adding your hairstay to your fabric and everything, you are going to place every piece on your fabric and cut it out. Okay, so that was what I did. I placed them on the fabric and I cut it out, and I'm going to show you what to do next. This is how it looks after cutting it out. So first thing you're going to do is to join the front piece together. So you join the 3 pieces of the front together and do the same thing for the back. Remember, the back you cut it open because of the zipper allowance, while for the front is cut on fold. So you do that for both the lining piece and the main fabric. Okay, so I cut the lining also. So you do that for both the lining piece and the main fabric. So I'm going to show you when I'm done after stitching it up. Okay, also on the bottom part, the waist area, you are going to join the dart. Okay, so you're going to join the dart for both the main fabric and the lining piece, the front and the back. Okay, so do that. I'm going to do that and show you what to do next. I've joined the darts together. You can actually do the pocket before adding the front to it, but what I did was I wanted the darts to align with each other and the sides to be equal. Okay, so I went ahead and joined the front piece of the dress to the upper piece of the dress on the front to the bottom part. Okay, so the upper part of the front and the bottom part of the front, I joined it together and did the same thing for the back before I started attaching the pocket for it. So after joining the front part of our dress, I folded it into 2 and I ironed it to get the midpoint. Okay, so after getting the midpoint, that's where we are going to start our measurement. So I've gotten the midpoint, and for the pocket piece I have 4 pieces for each pocket. Okay, so I have 4 pieces for each pocket. I have the tiny piece, which is 1 inch, so it was 2 inch and I folded it into 2. So the length is 8 inches for the smaller part, while the wideness was 2 inches. Then I folded it into 2, while the one for the pocket flap, the part that is coming up, I use 3 inches for the wideness, so that is basically 6 inches, and also for the length was also 3 inches. Okay, so I have 2 of the tiny piece and also 1 of the flap. Then the main pocket was just 1 piece, so I did 10 inches and I folded it into 2, so it gave me 5 inches. Okay, so 5 inches 10 inches. I'm going to add the measurement so that you'll be able to get what I'm talking about. So after doing that, I came to the pocket and I marked from the midpoint, I came down by 7 inches, so it was underneath the dart. Okay, so it was underneath the dart. I came down by 7 inches and I marked it. Then from the midpoint, I moved in, okay, to underneath the dart by 3 inches. You can use 4 inches, so it depends on how you want to place it. Then after doing that, I went ahead and marked it. So after marking it, you are just going to mark 1 inch and create a bust for it. Okay, so from that 3 inches, you are going to mark 5 inch, and that 5 inch, you are going to create a bust for it, and that bust is going to be 1 inch wide. Okay, so the wideness is 1 inch and the length is 5 inch. I'm going to do a very short video on it because I think this video is going to be very fast and long, so I'll be fast about it. So after doing that, you are going to come up, mark that straight line. You are going to come up by 0.25 on both sides and draw a straight line on both sides. Then after drawing the straight line, you are going to take your scissors and just give it a triangular curve on it on both sides. So it's going to be a triangle. That is going to be a bit of an opening for the pocket. Okay, so you open the midpoint and that is that. Okay, so you open the midpoint, that is where we'll be attaching the first part of our pocket. Okay, so after opening it, you are going to take that tiny piece, the one of 1 inch, and you are going to stitch it on your opening. So you'll be stitching it by 0.5 inch on both sides. After stitching it up, when you flip it inside, you are going to just see the 1 inch. You are going to see, let me label it A. You are going to see A outside, so you are going to flip it on the inside. Just put it on the inside and everything will come in. Okay, so that was the purpose of having that triangle that we drew on it. Okay, I really promise I'm going to do a video on that. So after doing that, you are going to take B, which is the pocket flap that is going to show, okay, the cover of the pocket. You are going to take B and you are going to place B on inside. So you turn your dress to the front part, then you place B on the inside. So when you place it on the inside, the main part, the side that you stitch and folded, after stitching and folding, you are going to see it now. It's going to be so nice. Then the part that you stitch, you are going to see it outside, then you stitch the inside together. Okay, so you are going to join it to the upper part of the pocket. Okay, the upper part. After stitching it, you take the C, that is the pocket, the main pocket, the one that is going to seal it up, and you're going to stitch one part to the upper part, the side of the flap, the side of B, and you're going to stitch the other side to the side of A. Okay, so I'm going to really do a tutorial on that because this is going to be confusing. So after doing that, you stitch the two sides together and you're done with your pocket. I'm so sorry guys, this video is so long, so I'm cutting everything and making it very, very fast. Okay, so I've joined the pocket together and it's looking pretty, right? So we'll go over to the shoulder. So you're going to join the shoulder to shoulder together. After joining the shoulder to shoulder together, we are going to cut a bishop collar for it. Okay, so I'm going to show you, drop a link on how to cut your bishop collar. I just use the total measurement of my neck circumference, then divide it by 2 and I cut it out. Okay, so I'll just be quick about that, but I'll be dropping a description on how to cut your bishop collar on the link below because I made a dress on how to do that. Okay, so we are going to do that and we'll join the sides together and I'll be cutting the cap sleeve for it. Okay, so for the cap sleeve, I use my sleeve pattern, so we'll work on the collar first. So after stitching, work on the collar. I'm done stitching it. So what to do next is you take your neck circumference After getting your neck circumference, you are going to take your fabric, and for my fabric, the main fabric, there was no stay on it, and for the lining piece I had stay. Okay, so I got 22 inches. So after getting 22 inches, I took my fabric and I folded it into two. Then I used 2 inches for it. Okay, so I folded it into two and I mark out 2 inches. Then on both sides of it, I gave it a triangular shape. Okay, just like a slant on it. Okay, because it wasn't basically a bishop collar that I intended to do. I just wanted to do a collar. Okay, so that was what I did. So after giving it that, the other side was cut on fold, so you are not going to open it up. Okay, so you just do the side that is attached to the front piece is cut on fold. You won't be opening it up. Okay, so that was what I did. I cut out two, then I stitch it together basically the way you join your bishop collar. I stitch it together and I attach it to the dress. Okay, so I'm going to put a link. This video is so long. I'm going to put a link on how to achieve that. So after sewing it or pinning it up, you can sew the lining piece and the main fabric together with the collar all at once. So you're just going to pin it accurately and stitch it. Okay, so when you get to the end, you attach your lining piece on it, pin it together, and you are going to stitch it. So it's just going to be basically what we used to turn our neckline. Okay, so it was very easy and accurate. So when you are done doing that, you join the sides together. After joining the sides together, you are going to attach the lining piece and the main fabric. Okay, the bottom part of the lining piece and the main fabric, we are going to be stitching that together. So basically, you know how to turn your dress. Okay, so you are going to just turn your dress, but make sure the lining piece is shorter than the main fabric. Okay, make sure the lining piece is a bit shorter than the main fabric. Okay, so that when you turn it, you are going to have, it's going to be so neat. The lining piece will be showing. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you how it looks. For the cap sleeve, I took my sleeve and I measured 4 inches. Okay, so from that upper part, you can make it a bit very small if you don't want it to be big. But I don't want it to be so small for mine, so I had to just use 4 inches for the side to get it. So if you don't want it that way, you are going to come on the cap side of your sleeve and you are going to take the measurement. Okay, so I had to remove the paper gum from it because I don't want to line it up. And this is the dress. I had to iron it because you can't achieve what you want without ironing it. Okay, so I had to iron it. Then I attached the sleeve to the dress. Then I also attach the zip. Okay, so this is the area for the zip. You have to attach the zipper to your dress and you are done with your structured dress. So this is how the dress looks. My god, this video was long. Thank you so much for watching today's tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. God bless you so much, guys. Bye and have a blessed and fruitful day.